Welcome to Aspiring Hollywood, where you can see tomorrow's stars today. My next guest has been in multiple film productions and popular television shows such as Guiding Light, All My Children, and South Beach. Her name is Ashley Avis, and today she's living and breathing the cynical life. The cynical life of Harper Hall, that is. Ashley, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Tell me, what is the cynical life?
The Cynical Life is a new independent TV pilot that was a brainchild after shooting something in New York and kind of realizing how not easy production is, but if you have the right people involved, it was something we wanted to just kind of see if we could do. And so it's about a failed children's book author who goes through a relationship implosion after her boyfriend of 7 years cheats on her with the illegitimate daughter of David Hasselhoff. And then her savings are drained. It's just, she goes through this horrifying experience. And she moves in with her little sister, Sparrow, who's an actress in Hollywood, and has to deal with living with 3 roommates that are in their 20s in Hollywood. She's a New Yorker. Some of the people in this room are New Yorkers, so they understand. And she just has to kind of rebuild her life from there and be able to pen something more commercially viable than when Barney's parents died in the lava.
Let's take a look.
How's your salad?
Great. Thank you for ordering for me.
Pretty good here, I heard. Very good. I hope you like it. Hey, listen, I got a funny story for you. My agent says you gotta change your name, right? Too many Johnnies out there. So I changed it to Blaze. Here, it's my new headshot. Kinda want a female opinion on it. I think it shows a lot of depth, personally.
Oh, absolutely.
That's like Matthew McConaughey.
Definitely.
Right.
You should try shirtless next time.
Well, that sounds really great, and I want to get back to that because I want to talk to you about the production process and when it's coming out and all that. But first of all, I wanted to ask you. You started out acting. Tell me about that.
I rode horses and did a lot of kind of different kind of sports when I was growing up, and I was always interested in theater because I was very shy, and it was one of the only places I felt like as a kid I could come alive and just kind of take on a different character on stage. And I always thought it would be boring to live one life, so acting provided an outlet to live different lives, and that was always really attractive about it.
So the audience members of Aspiring Hollywood would probably want to know. So you rode horses, but how did you get started?
The transition.
The transition, exactly. And I want to talk about the defining moment, that one event that separated you from wanting to act to actually being on the soap operas. What was that?
I think it was, I was in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I grew up, and I was pursuing music when I was 15, 16. I was singing in musical theater, and I didn't really have a musical theater voice or not sensibility, but I was told by my music instructor to contact this guy that produced a lot of the Backstreet Boys and that kind of stuff. And we started working together, and eventually I went to New York and had a very short contract with Warner Brothers Music. And when I got there, we worked together for a little while, and my producer got fired. And so I had to make a transition, and I suddenly grew, so I had some opportunities in fashion. And I just sat there for a little while wondering what the best career move for longevity would be, and it was a theatrical path. It was entertainment, film, television, and that was also the most fun sounding one too.
Okay, so then you went to the audition?
For All My Children, Guiding Light?
Yes.
Guiding Light was the first soap opera I did, and I was 16, and I was doing the fashion thing because I was tall and because I was doing some swimsuit campaigns. They cast me as a swimsuit model with a line, and it was exciting. It was so much fun, and everybody on that set was unbelievably supportive. I didn't think they would be, just for aspiring actors, you never expect these people that have been on television for 20 years, like on a soap opera, to be so unbelievably accepting of somebody who's just getting onto the scene. They weren't competitive. They were just really supportive. Great environment.
And then tell me about the transition from being in the soap opera to actually writing and directing your own your own film. Tell me about that.
Well, I've been writing since I could hold a pencil, it seems. I would consume books as a kid, and when I moved to New York, I studied business, and that was kind of the safer path as a major instead of journalism. So behind my economics book in college and in high school, I would just be writing stories and novels, and I was very much into sci-fi, fantasy, and Anne McCaffrey and fun things like that. I wish her books weren't optioned. But screenwriting, the visual medium in writing a screenplay, was so interesting versus a novel, because as you're thinking about that, also from a director's point of view, you've got the scenes in your head, and as you're writing it, you can see them play through. So I never even thought I would want to go a directing path, but after I decided to produce Cynical, it's like I know exactly what the shots are in my head because I saw it as I was writing it. So.
And what made you come up with this story idea?
I spend years writing screenplays, or at least months, and I get very married to the concepts, and I'm a manic perfectionist, so I'll move around a comma for half an hour and still be unhappy. So I shot an independent pilot in New York in April by Troy Lavelle called Group, and seeing what they were able to do, and they lost a makeup artist, so I just started reaching and trading things for press, and saw that with the right group of people you could produce something for a very small amount of money if you could, you know, just get the right people around you. So after seeing that, I came back to LA, had a glass of wine, and wrote one very bad draft, and then the next day wrote another one, and within 3 days we were casting.
Wow, that's fast.
Thank you. Yeah, it was insane, but.
Well, the world of independent filmmaking is really a hard one, isn't it? It's really treacherous. And what people ask me all the time, and I get these emails from all over the world, right? Asking, well, how can I break into the film industry? How do I finance my movie, right? Can you talk a little bit about that? And how did you do it? I mean, you have to pay people something, right?
Sure, yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully you have either a credit card that you can utilize, which I don't, or a little bit of savings, which I also didn't have. But with what we did, when I told my co-producer Paul Harrison that I wanted to shoot this next weekend, he told me I was nuts, but said if I wanted to do it, he would be on board. And then basically I have written for a very long time and still have certain connections with some publications and still write for a few magazines. So I started just emailing people and asking people for referrals for crew. We put out a breakdown with deferred payment, and I was shocked at the amount of talent. It was a concept. I put up a website before the script was even half written because I knew what I wanted to do with it. And so that's a lot of different pieces of information, but I thought the marketing was important. It got cast, it got agents and managers for people we would never have had come into that room interested in it because they saw the graphic design, they saw the website, they saw that we were going to market this professionally. And then we reached out to crew, they saw all of that material, and they were willing to work for free or on a deferred basis if it did get picked up. And we did it with about $1,800, which just was basic food for the cast and crew. The editing was something that we had to pay for, but I still did some trading with the editors as well, because we spent 96 hours straight in an editing room.
No, you're talking about some of these actors being represented by agents and managers.
Yes.
Now, look, I know from personal experience, it's not easy to get your call answered by an agent or manager when you call them and you say, I have basically $1,800 in a pizza from Pizza Hut. You know, can you send me your best talent? Right?
Sure. Why do you put it that way?
Right. How were you able to get through to these people?
Well, because when I was growing up, I told you already, I read sci-fi fantasy, so I was a complete nerd, and at age 12, 13, I didn't want to get a job at the mall, so I started learning web design, and I never thought that skill, I had a web design company through college, so I was able to just write and not have to, and not that I was making a ton of money, but was supported. So that skill, being able to market and do graphic design and all of those aspects that you can use to market a film very, very well and draw awareness to it, were instrumental in putting up the initial website. And then we sent the managers and agents who were inquiring a script, and just people thought that it was a great idea, and hopefully it is. And we had an amazing audition process and just got some great folks.
Well, I mean, that's a huge, huge accomplishment. Congratulations. Congratulations. Now, you had some mishaps during your production.
Yep.
And I went to your website and I actually saw your car being towed away with all of your equipment on it. So it wasn't really a car, it was a truck.
It was a truck. It was a massive expedition.
So what happened?
We shot this thing over 2 days, basically 2 days straight. Our crew, and then myself and Paul and our production assistant Oko, we didn't sleep for a good, literally about 48 hours. We were still up. So we shot this entire thing over 2 days, and we got lighting equipment on partial trade. We shot one scene with it downtown at this location, Onyx Lounge in LA, and we walk out 4 minutes after the period of time you're allowed to park, and our car was being towed down the street. So the problem, that wouldn't have been a huge issue besides the money to get it out, but the person that owned it had just had his ID stolen. So we showed up at the impound lot and they wouldn't let us have our car back. So we shot the entire thing with some base lighting equipment from a photography studio, and that's how we shot it.
Well, it didn't look bad when I looked at it.
Well,
So
thank you.
So you did a very good job.
Yeah, we've got a few reshoots to do for a few low lighting situations, but for the most part, our crew was amazing in being able to accommodate that hurdle.
Yeah. So talk about the cast a little.
We have an amazing cast. They're beautiful as beautiful as they are talented, and it's so hard to find. We have a cast of 25, and to find 25 unbelievably talented people that again, 2 days to shoot this. We can't do 50 takes for anybody. Everybody had to be on for every single scene. And just a few of our cast members that are imperative to mention. Camille Cregan, who plays my little sister, she's just amazing. She has this mysticism to her, and she's starring in a new, it's called the Trivial Pursuits of Arthur Banks, coming up this fall. So she's going to take off, and she's gorgeous and talented. And then Justin Taite, who plays Blaze, who's the quintessential actor / model. I saw him 2 days after we shot this thing at an event, and I thought I had invited the wrong actor to this event. He's that like crazy method and charactery. I've never had this experience before. I stared at him across the room for 25 minutes, like, this guy, it's the wrong actor. But it was him. He's just that much of a character that he was able to pull that off. And then Jana Van Heertem and Chelsea Ray Bernier, they play these two. It takes a really intelligent actor to play an airhead, and they play the actresses in the house, and they're so funny, and their moments are just amazing. And
how long is the piece?
It's 22 minutes right now.
Yeah.
We're going to see where we'll be at after reshoots.
And it's coming out in August, did you say?
Yeah, we're going to do a premiere hopefully at Lionsgate at the end of August, maybe early September, depending on some cast schedules, because we want everyone to be there.
Well, great. Well, you have to let us know so
will,
we can,
of
we can
course.
come over. Now, let me ask you this. What would be your, I mean, obviously you've been through the whole gamut of filmmaking, you know, and the experiences with a car and everything else. What's your advice to an aspiring filmmaker? What would you say to them?
I would say make sure you've got a great script, and if you're capable of writing something brilliant, go for it, or find somebody that can, because our production company is very new, but we've done a couple of script calls, and can't believe how there's so much talent out there, from writers to cast to crew. Just take the time to review everything, and then keep an open mind about budget. You don't have to have 20 grand to shoot a short film. Go to your local businesses and see if they're willing to sponsor you. Have an event, do a silent auction, and put people's banners up. For a couple $100 for a donation, a lot of people are willing to do that, and you can fundraise that way. Indiegogo is something we discovered recently, and we didn't do a lot of fundraising through there yet. We're going to launch a campaign But Indiegogo allows you to put up cast photos or just your concept if you don't have any of that yet, and then send that out via email or Facebook or Twitter or social networking tools and fundraise through, they accept PayPal and credit cards. People can donate $1 to $1,000. So just explore every asset and every skill you have. Trade for, if you're a dance instructor, offer to trade people dance lessons. Like, there's a million ways that you can raise money for a film. You don't need, that magic investor to start your project.
Great advice. Now tell us about your website. Where can people find you?
It's called thecynicallife.com.
That's Ashley Avis, ladies and gentlemen, The Cynical Life of Harper Hall. Check premiere dates at thecynicallife.com. Very good. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you guys for watching.